Nobody knows what the word cycling actually means, and we're probably doing it wrong. So first of all, when people talk about cycling steroids, what they talk about is taking something along with something else, and taking them at weird dosages and taking it for 18 weeks and then just stopping out of nowhere. They may or may not take them again. They have no plan. They have no long-term thing. That's not what cycle means. Like when you're talking about drugs and cycling, that essentially means you're taking them all the time. Like they're meant to be taken all the time, not just a couple of weeks, not a couple of months, like long-term. And you know what you're going to do afterwards. And if you're taking something and you stop, it's because you're taking something else for sure. You don't just stop everything for no reason. That's not what cycling means. So for one, we use the word cycling wrong, but that's fine. We know what cycling means. So if we're talking about cycling, what are we doing wrong? And the key thing is, for one, we're taking things that are not human approved. So that's the big thing, especially people that are starting. See all this? All this is human approved stuff. But the list of things that people take are twice this long. Like testosterone, masteron, deca, that stuff's human approved. Equipoise is not. Tren is not. Tren used to be, and then they saw, wow, we screwed that up so bad and this is so terrible. It should not be for humans, that's for sure. And not only the fact that most people don't take human approved drugs, but should be. Let's say they do take them. If you take a human approved drug, if you get it prescribed to you, you're not meant to just take it for 12 weeks and then just freaking stop. You're taking it long term, like essentially lifelong. So if you're going to be taking this stuff, obviously the best way to do it would be what people call like bridging, right? So if you take testosterone at 800 milligrams a week for 12 weeks, there's no reason you should come off completely, right? Unless there's a life event like having a child, that's sort of a different thing. But if you're not doing that, then why would you come off completely? Like you can turn your natural test back on, especially if you're just taking testosterone for this argument. But you would want to lower the dose. You wouldn't want to just come off completely. And same thing with DECA and Master and all this stuff. Like I'm not saying you should run them all the time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you were taking these the proper way in the first place at clinical dosages, they're not meant to just stop out of nowhere. So when you're designing a cycle, maybe you should ask yourself, when I'm done with this 12, 16 week period, is there a life event happening that I should come off of everything? Is my health so bad that I should come off of these? Because the thing is, if you're talking about health, if you were taking them at the proper dosages in the first place, your health would be fine. So why wouldn't the case be if your health is terrible from high dosages, let's lower it to where it should be and see if your health gets better? Because chances are you're going to hurt yourself if you come off just testosterone completely. Like, yeah, some of your levels might get to where you want them to be, I guess. Same thing with the orals, but like you're hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself. So next time when you're making a cycle, or at least thinking of it, ask yourself those questions, right? Is there something going on that I should be off of these drugs completely? Does it make sense that I should maybe take lower dosages in the first place and be safer? That way you don't have all these issues coming up. And then the big question is, when you're done with that 12, 16 week cycle, as we call it, would it make sense maybe to like cut all those drugs into a quarter, right? So instead of 4 drugs, you're taking 1, instead of 8, you're taking 2, and then lower the dosage like big time. Like instead of taking a laundry list of things, maybe you take a little bit of test and a little bit of Masteron, or a little bit of test and a little bit of Proviron every few days. Something that at least helps you mentally as far as like being a bodybuilder, holding on to this stuff, because chances are if you're taking 3 grams of stuff and then you cut it down to a gram, cut it down to like 200 milligrams, like you're gonna have, it's still gonna mess with you mentally. Like, let's be honest, it's still gonna mess with you. But you need to ask yourself, what do I need to do long term? Because we're not cycling the way we should be. That's not what cycling means. And if you were getting prescribed these drugs, it's not to take them for 12 weeks and stop. It's to take them forever. It's a long term thing if you were taking them right in the first place. So if we're not taking them right in the first place, at least consider what it's supposed to be like if you were taking them properly. Okay, that's all I'm saying.